Hey, amazing parents. I just got the most cutest clip of a little guy who was exploring rolling over, and he could really do a fantastic job of rolling from his back to his side. And then he got a little bit stuck on his side, but he eventually managed to roll over onto his stomach. And I just wanted to give a few tips of something super simple that you can do and experiment with your child who might be at this stage. So he was on his back. He was the cutest little guy, and he's really curious. He really wanted a toy that was right. It was about right here, so kind of chest height to him, so he could see it. And so he rolled over and he was reaching for his little toy, and he was really curious about it, and he was actually quite comfortable going to the other side. He had another toy on the other side, so he was doing this, kind of curious with it, and then he would kind of get stuck, and his mom moved the toy a little bit further away, and eventually he did figure out how to roll onto his stomach. He came onto his stomach. But I want to show you something that you can. It's just such a simple thing that you can do to experiment with this to facilitate their brains collecting more information to help them roll over more kind of clearer in a different way. So if you see where the toy is and where his vision is, vision has a huge role in movement. We actually orientate our bodies around where what we see. So he thought this toy was super interesting. So he's orientating his body around something that he wants, that he can visually see. So he saw this toy here and he wants it. So if the toy is right here, he's going to go reach for it, and he figured out a way to roll himself over and reach for it, and he got it. Okay, so that's amazing. That's a brilliant brain. And so where can he go from here once he has the toy? Well, he got it. Okay, so if you're kind of practicing, or you want to expand his movement to roll onto his stomach, putting the toy here, the movement is kind of complete. Now, if you start moving the toy in different positions for him, remember our vision is going to orientate the rest of our bodies around what we see and what we want. So if the ball is a little bit out of his reach, up a little bit higher, he has to, he has to see it, and watch what happens when you start to see something above your head or reach for something above your head. All of a sudden, you have this arching motion. So my lower back, it starts to arch, and if you have a freedom in your pelvis will start to arch. And if the toy was moved even above his head, and I'm reaching for the toy, and I'm visually looking for the toy, the rest of my body will orientate around what I visually see and what I want. So this is a little kind of trick that you can experiment with your child. If your child is able to roll onto their side and reach for a toy, try moving this toy in different trajectories for them to reach. And you can even do it as they're reaching for it, as they're visually seeing. So make sure they're actually they can see it. This toy happened to have a few lights and noises and things, so he could orientate himself around that toy, so he could really, orientate himself around the toy. So that's what you're playing with, is you're playing with using his natural interest. He's interested in this toy, and what he visually sees or what he can hear, and the rest of his body will naturally orientate itself around that. So you can experiment. You can see that if the toy is simply right here and he rolls over, there's kind of nowhere else to go. It's really hard to actually complete the rolling over motion if I'm reaching out to the side like this. It's actually quite hard because my arm gets stuck in the way. Now, if the toy is a little bit above my head and I'm starting to reach this way, all of a sudden that kind of it's a little bit easier to roll onto your stomach. And actually, the interesting thing is, for parents, you should just get down on the ground and feel it. How easy is it to reach for a toy straight kind of shoulder height? Is it easy to roll over? is this easy to roll over? Is if you're reaching for a toy up above your head, how easy is that to roll over? All of a sudden it gets actually quite easy, especially if you can have two hands reaching up like that to reach for the toy above your head like that. So something fun to play with is mixing up where you put the toy, and you can actually move it as they're moving. You can kind of move it a little bit out of their reach, so they actually have to follow the movement. So if there's a hand here saying, oh hey, look at this interesting toy, and then you're kind of moving it as they're reaching in that sort of an arc. It's a super interesting, fun way to experience it and to get their brains engaged in orientating their bodies around what they're looking at what they want. If there's if they're highly engaged with a toy, they're going to orientate their whole bodies around it to go get it, right? That's what we do. We orientate our bodies around what we want to go get. If there's a toy right here, I mean, I could reach for it like this, but if I visually see it interesting, I'm going to rotate my entire body to go get it. That's what we're designed to do. So you can use that as your advantage and place the toy. It's so simple. Place the toy in different positions around him to kind of activate that natural instinct of visually looking, and then the body kind of follows suit. The body follows that orientation. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.